We're here for match 1 with the updated Amped Raptor burn. Yeah. This hand is awkward. We try it. Obviously not the best opener, but still fine. Thundering Falls, so possibly Just Guy. Smack Vista tells me basically nothing. No, I am suspecting this is Just Guy, possibly Blue-Red Wizards. Okay, sure. No reason to attack here. Could cast something, but the odds that my opponent has something along the lines of Spell Snare here was pretty high, so it's interesting that they're not using Prismatic Vista there, but try to figure this. If they Spell Snare, and it's whatever. Mm-hmm. We'll just pass. We could cast Eidolon here, but just don't think it's worth it. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Curious that they're pitching Bolt rather than casting it. Sure. Sure. Mm-hmm. Sure. Still no reason to take a game action. One, two, three, four, five, six, seven. Don't even really care if this resolves, honestly. Mm-hmm. Okay. Cool. We're dead. Because I screwed up. Okay. Oh well. Should have left the bolt in play, I guess. Yeah. Don't really like the Searing Blaze as much. But ironically, I don't really want. It's just best to leave the blazes in. Sanity is not good. I think on 6 we have to keep this, though I'm not a huge fan. I'm gonna get Tanya though on turn 1, of course. Mm-hmm. Probably gonna run face first into a spell snare. Of course. Okay. Liam preordain. Yep. Mm-hmm. go. Okay. See if they cast a Snapcaster Mage or something this turn. Honestly, kind of surprised that they flipped Tamiyo when they did. Do you find it funny though that I step away from Exquisite Firecraft in our sideboard, and then all of a sudden I play against a blue-white X deck or blue-red X deck? Really no reason to do anything here. Sure. Mm-hmm. Well, that puts us to 4. If they have double bolt, we're dead. Mm-hmm. So they left this BS card in against a mono red deck. Sure. Yeah. Okay. Alright, we're here with our second match. Hopefully a little bit better showing than we did against good old... Can't really risk the one lander on the... Okay. Going to 5. this one back. Open parlor. Pass. Turn 1, Underground Mortuary. A little bit of a risk here, but most spells we hit we should be able to cast, so. Okay. Sure. Could easily have Bowmaster here. Prismatic Ending? Birthing Ritual. Okay. Alright, a 1-drop. Looks like we're up against Yawg then. Sure. Don't really think we're winning this game, unfortunately. Surprised I just didn't get back. Alright, let's just move on. We can't beat this life gain. Alright. So Blood Moon's in, Brotherhood's in, that in, Searing Blood's in, Boros Charms and Eidolon's out. And I guess a copy of the Emperor after. Yeah, I'll try this hand. Okay. Turn on delay the halfling. Let's see what our opponent has here. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It's been a while since I've been happy to cast this card. So I go grab Dryad Arbor here. Maybe Bowmaster. Okay. Sure. Marionette Apprentice. I think this is what you kill. The Hapatra and Young Wolf are kind of dangerous. Searing Blaze would be nice. Okay, so they get another Marionette Apprentice. Ranger's Firebrand. Obviously, if they have Cord, we're dead. So, I mean, there's really nothing we can still force them to Cord in response. Yep, here comes Cord. And the Court of Calling on top. Fantastic. Mm-hmm. Yep, we're good. Okay. Alright. Probably the one last match for tonight's recording session at least. See if we can go out on a winning note at least. Elegant Parlor has been really awkward this league. I see. Haven't seen the deck in 40-some matches. Now all of a sudden I have no harsh mentors and we run face first into Nadu. Got it. Alright, well. Opponent will have another Spring Hardened and Tuco. We have to make a 1/1. Which I guess can block if they really want it to. Okay, that's bizarro land timing wise. Now their opponent has Spring Hardened and Tuco. We don't know what else they have. Yeah, I think we'll keep it on top. Yeah, I think that force is lethal, so just attack with everything. And even should they have something like, I guess Flare Up Denial wouldn't matter here. Alright, Nadu. Shuko. Not sure which version of the deck we're up against, completely honestly. Blood Moons. Blood's pretty reasonable. Maybe go down the copy of Eidolons. I'll keep the Zero Lander. Yeah, we'll keep his hand. These decks start packing a ton of life gain, so I wonder if we're just supposed to get rid of one of the copies of Ranger's Firebrand. Kind of a bit of a weird play here, but I'm going to lead on this. We hold up the option of holding whatchamacallit during our turn. Their opponent fetch. They do not, so they're going to draw the Chico. Okay. So Raptor. Hope we don't hit anything. Of course we can't actually cast that one. Would have been nice. Alright, Bant Nadu. Here comes Naughty Claus, here comes Naughty Claus, right down Naughty Claus Lane. Kind of an annoying card, yes it is now. Alright. Don't think we're winning this one. Haywire might. Sure. Okay. All right, let's just move on. Raptor's not the greatest in this particular matchup, I don't think. Total points burn basically, so. Of course. Keep finding Bloodman off of it, why wouldn't we, right? Okay. Curious to see if they block here. All right, we'll take the win. So as we take a look at this version of Burn, a little bit of a different take on the Amped Raptor build. Now, at least one person suggested Ranger's Firebrand. I know GG, when he was still doing content during Lord of the Rings, played this card. Wasn't particularly impressed by it. I think if Firebrand was a instant, I'd be much more into it. But the fact that it is a sorcery doing this, really not the best. Now, obviously, in this video, I did not sequence this the best, especially in match number 1 against Is It Wizards. This is kind of a low impact card unless you have multiples of these really going. It can be somewhat relevant, but most of your creatures are going to outsize a good portion of your opponent's creatures anyway. So I'm not sure, like, the first stage. The second stage kind of starts to matter. Then the third stage, obviously, and fourth stage get quite good. But I don't think you really want to be seeing 4 copies of Shock plus a little bit of upside in a game. So, rest of the deck, really the kind of the same main deck that we had. And really, I mean, we did see a lot of the variants of the deck this time around, of the Arena of Glory Elegant Parlor hands. The Elegant Parlor is basically a card you never want in your opener unless it's your third land, and even then you really don't want a third land. Arena of Glory, only pretty good if you have a mountain floating around. So, you know, these cards both come with potential downsides, and we did see that a little bit this league, or the matches in the league. So, adjusted the sideboard. So, for reference, this was the sideboard we were rolling with last time. You know, get rid of the Harsh Mentors. Of course, the first time I'm not rocking Harsh Mentors in about 40-some matchups, and we run into Nadu. Still managed to eke out a win, but just kind of find that funny. Also, cut the Exquisite Firecrafts, immediately run into a blue-white or blue-X control deck. So, the thought process behind this version was I wanted some more tools against specifically the Boros energy decks that I saw quite a bit of this weekend, or the 3-color energy decks when I was playing some of the prowess things over on the MTG Nexus channel. And then I don't know what it is lately about matchmaking, but I swear I adjust for a specific matchup or set of matchups and then immediately run into the decks and cards that I tweak my deck to no longer be hedged against. Rolling Vortex was also kind of a hedge against that matchup. I'm not sure this card is particularly good in the current meta. Would have to test it against Energy to see how I feel, but I don't really think this card's, Rhinos aren't really a whole big part of the format. Living End hasn't really been popping around all that much, so this is kind of one of those, we'll try it. Brought it in against Control, but really probably isn't that good right now in the current format, other than maybe against Energy. Sanctifier and Vec, Ruby Storm seems to be on the downtick some. Didn't play against Mono Black Necro, any of the decks that we really want this, so. Blood Moon, the only time we were seeing it this league was off of Amped Raptor when we couldn't cast it. Great deck building, I know. But, yeah, I mean, this card is fine. It might help against the Eldrazi decks, etc. So, figured it was worth trying Blood Moon, especially since we're really not playing a whole lot of white spells in our deck other than the 4 Boros Charm and the 4 Sanctifier and Vec. And really, most of the matchups you're bringing in Sanctifier and Vec, you're not going to want Blood Moon. So I'm not really worried about the tension between these two. Tension between this and the Amperaptor certainly is a thing. But, you know, Stirring Blood had its moments to shine. Brotherhood's End could have potentially shined against Yawgmoth, but Yawgmoth did Yawgmoth things. And then, you know, Blue-Red X Wizards. I threw away game 1, and then game 2 we just kind of, you know, our opponent had a pretty reasonable hand against our kind of stumbling hand, and we lost. So Yawgmoth was a tricky matchup for Burn prior to the rotation. I don't know how much the Birthing Ritual version changes all that much. And then Blue-Red Wizards was always, you know, a tricky matchup. Now that they have Tamiyo and such as another cheap threat, probably matchup is fairly close. Although if we would have had the Exquisite Firecrafts, I would have felt much better about that. You know, minus the punt game 1. So control's always a tricky matchup for Burn, depending on the variant. With Blue-Red being a little... Blue-Red or Jeskai was always trickier, like when they had Snapcaster, Lightning Helix, or when, you know, when Jeskai has Flage. Those were always trickier than just straight Blue-White control. Because Blue-White control really struggles with closing out the game in a fairly fast sense, so you can kind of sculpt the perfect hand. But against, you know, Wizards or Blue-Red X control right now, Bolt Snap Bolt is a thing again. Flage is a thing. But this version was experimental, and, you know, we still have a couple more matchups in the league that I'll probably play in a different video. But I mean, as far as an experimental version, it wasn't terrible. You know, there were reasons for the cards. I don't really think, you know, I really don't know that I want Blood Moon, but I figured I wanted to toy around with some cards, you know, instead of kind of sticking with the status quo. You know, at least we can afford Flage, but once we get Flage, we'll probably try more traditional Burn with Flage instead of, you know, Amperaptor and such. But I did want to give Amperaptor a little bit more run here. It's kind of mediocre in this league. And I think we kind of, like I said, kind of with the land base too. We ran into the other side of variants, the, you know, tap land variants, the hit your 3 drops in the post-board games variants. It happens. But anyways, if you like Burn content, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Hope to see you for our next video.